Once upon a time, a cat named Whiskers decided to take a walk through the quiet village. He stretched lazily in the morning sun, then stepped out his front door and strolled into the quiet street. As he passed by a house, a little girl waved to him. "Good morning," she called out. "You look like you could use some adventure." Whiskers paused and thought about this for a moment. I suppose I could use an adventure," he said. So he turned around and headed back towards the tall oak tree at the end of the garden. He pushed aside the ivy growing over the fence and walked into the forest beyond. The trees were tall and the sunlight dappled the ground in patches of light and shade as he walked deeper into the wood. Suddenly, he heard a loud crash and the sound of heavy footsteps. Startled, Whiskers jumped behind a large mushroom. He watched as a huge black dog came bounding through the trees. It skidded to a halt in front of him and panted heavily. "Oh, hello," said Whiskers. "What brings you to these parts?" The dog sighed and slumped to the ground. "I am cursed," he said, his voice deep and rumbling. "The evil witch Malkana has stolen my voice. I cannot bark, meow, or even purr. I can only growl." Then, with a final shake of his head, he disappeared. Whiskers felt a pang of sympathy for the poor dog. He knew he had to help. "Don't worry," he called out. "I'll get your voice back." But the dog just kept running. And so Whiskers continued on his way. He walked until he came to a small clearing. And there, in the center, sat an old owl perched on a branch. Whiskers approached her cautiously. "Hello," he asked softly. "Why do you look so troubled?" The owl turned her head and regarded him with wise, knowing eyes. "The Dark Lord has taken the moon crystal," she said, her voice raspy with worry. "The skies will never shine again without it." "Then let's go and get it back," said Whiskers bravely. The owl nodded and flew down from her branch. "I am Oliver, the owl. Will you come with me?" she asked. "Of course," said Whiskers. And together, they set off to find the moon crystal. They walked for many hours until they reached a tall, grassy hill. As they climbed to the top, Whiskers heard a loud barking sound. "Woof! Woof!" It echoed across the land. When they reached the crest of the hill, they saw a small dog standing on one end of a broken bridge. "Hello," said Whiskers politely. "We'd like to cross your bridge." The little dog barked again. "Woof! Only those who are brave enough can cross my bridge," he said. "I am Daisy the dog, and I challenge you to a game. If you win, you may pass. But if you lose, you must turn back." "We're going to face the Dark Lord," said Whiskers. "Will you join us?" The little dog's tail began to wag furiously. "I've been waiting for a real challenge," he barked happily. "Count me in!" Together, the unlikely trio continued on their quest. They walked through fields of flowers and over babbling brooks until they came to a peaceful glade. In the center sat a rabbit playing a leaf flute. His music was so beautiful that Whiskers and Oliver stopped to listen. "That was wonderful," said Whiskers, as the rabbit finished his song. "Thank you," said the rabbit, blushing. "I am Ruby," the rabbit. "Your music is magical," said Whiskers. "We need you on our quest." "Then let my tunes guide us to victory," said Ruby, and joined the group. They traveled through whispering bamboo forests and over hills that touched the clouds. Finally, they could see it in the distance, the dark castle looming over the horizon, its towers scraping the sky. Thunder rumbled overhead as they approached the castle gates, which swung open with a creak. From inside, they heard a booming voice. "Who dares disturb my sleep?" It was the Dark Lord. "You shall not take the moon crystal," he growled, but Whiskers stood his ground. "Together," he said, "we are stronger than fear." And with that, the battle began. Ruby played a powerful tune on her flute. Daisy leaped across the shadows cast by the Dark Lord's minions. And Oliver swooped down and summoned the wind to blow the Dark Lord's magic away. The Dark Lord shouted in frustration as he tried to attack, but the brave animals dodged his every move. Suddenly, he grew to twice his size and let out a deafening roar. He shot a bolt of lightning at them, but it fizzled harmlessly away when it hit Daisy's shimmering fur. Taking this chance, Whiskers ran forward and swatted the Dark Lord right in the nose. The Dark Lord let out a surprised yelp and shrunk back to his normal size. He stumbled backward, crashed through the wall, and disappeared into a burst of light. The animals cheered. The moon crystal had been returned. Moonlight poured through the newly repaired skylights, bathed in the courtyard in silvery light. Exhausted but happy, Whiskers lay down in a patch of grass under the sparkling sky. He had gone out for a walk, expecting nothing more than a stroll around the block. Instead, he had found the greatest friends a cat could ask for. The end?